All right, here we are. We're going to make our famous Beyer candy toffee that everyone has been begging me for the recipe for. And for years and years and years, I knew that it was not something I could share, but apparently I've gotten lax in COVID. So here's our Christmas present to you. We are going to show you how to make delicious Beyer toffee with my mom, who is the one who taught me how to do this when I was like 8. So here we go. So the recipe is 2 sticks of butter. We're gonna put the butter in the pan and warm that up on medium. We're gonna melt it. And there's my dad. He's been eating this candy since I was 9.
And 3 tablespoons of water.
And 3 tablespoons of water. All right, so you're gonna let the butter melt all the way, and
Let's get another one. This one needs to go in the
then you're going to get the wooden spoon and coat as much of the wooden spoon and the pan as you can with the melted butter.
Now, I would always run the butter up the side a little bit so it wouldn't have, the crystals of the sugar wouldn't stick to the pan.
Right, so we're gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. And it'd be good if you used your heaviest frying pan. You need a heavy frying pan, not something that is really light, because you're going to be putting really hot sugar in it, and it needs to be a thick pan, heavy pan.
So I'm trying to get the melted butter all over the sides of the pan.
Now, the reason why you're putting the melted butter up the sides of the pan is if 1 grain of sugar gets into the candy after it's been cooked, it will cause the candy to crystallize, which you don't want to happen. Where's my drink?
We got the COVID here.
No, no COVID. Oh, for heaven's sake. Guess who likes toasted almonds? Baby cat.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and so you melt the butter all the way down till it's completely melted, and then you add 3 tablespoons of water and 2 sticks and 1 cup of sugar. So the recipe is 1, 2, 3. 1 cup of sugar, 2 sticks of butter, 3 tablespoons of water.
All right, do that again, Mom.
No,
Okay.
you were in
Was
focus.
she? Okay.
Yeah.
Was I okay?
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
All right, so it's 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. And then you're going to add about a tablespoon of Karo Syrup. That keeps it from recrystallizing. You don't want it to recrystallize because you've just wasted 2 sticks of butter and a cup of sugar. And butter is pretty expensive.
That's my dad.
What is going on here?
We're doing a video
He can be in the video. He's been
Oh.
eating this
since Grandma
Forever.
Betty taught us how to
Wait,
make
so
it.
come back in. This is his mom's recipe?
His mom's recipe.
Go
All right.
back over and stand behind Starr.
Okay,
All right.
Over this way, behind Starr.
this goes on the.
Okay, I can take care of that.
All right. So apparently this recipe is from his mom, Grandma Betty.
Step in. A little closer, Dean.
Walk closer to David. Get right here. Come over here. You need to get closer.
It's
There
our
you go. Now you're in the
Christmas
picture.
gift to everyone, my family. All right. So, Dad, do you remember your mom making this candy?
She didn't make it till after we'd been married a long time. She didn't make it in childhood.
So it's not like the hand-me-down
I don't
from
know where she
generation
got
to
the recipe. Probably
generation.
from somebody at church.
She probably got it from a magazine. All right. So I'm trying to coat the spoon
Just
with
really.
the butter. Okay. So I think I got it. So now we're gonna add the water and the sugar. I usually do the sugar and then the water.
I would put the water in first.
I'll do the sugar first.
Okay. You just need to be really careful. Not 1 grain of sugar remains after you.
What was that?
sugar and water, and now I'm gonna put some Karo syrup in here.
If you're in a bind and don't have Karo syrup,
Go to the store.
go to the store, or pancake syrup is basically Karo syrup with flavoring. You just use 3 tablespoons of pancake syrup and it'll be fine.
Raspberry, we had the raspberry syrup there too.
I wouldn't waste the raspberry syrup in the candy.
No, it's just right. That's what I had this morning.
Raspberry syrup.
That's
So you
great.
could have raspberry flavored toffee. Ooh, my friend Marisa makes licorice flavored toffee. It's caramel licorice or caramel.
Oh, I love caramel licorice.
I had
so
the
good.
waffles this morning. I put the raspberry flavor right on top of that with the butter. It was wonderful.
Did you microwave it to make it hot?
Oh yes.
Great. Now you're thinking.
2 minutes, and boy, that was good.
Now, the interesting thing about this toffee is everybody thinks it's very difficult to make and needs a candy thermometer, but you don't need a candy
I
thermometer.
don't have a candy thermometer.
We don't even own a candy thermometer. We have lots of thermometers, but none of them are for candy, because this is the only candy we make. And this is called Beyer 123 brown paper bag candy. And the reason why it's called brown paper bag candy is you boil the sugar, the water, and the butter until it's the color of a brown paper bag. And I used to give the recipe and the candy away, and I would have the recipe
Now you don't have
printed.
the finger on here. What happened to your ring?
Oh, that's a good question. I ate too much of this and my ring doesn't fit anymore. So
Are you serious?
yeah, my ring doesn't fit anymore, so I am a single
Anyway,
married.
so you cook it,
It's kind of bubbly right now. You can see it's a little foamy, a little bubbly.
but you're gonna cook it until it's the color of a brown paper bag, which is generally less than 5 minutes. So you're not investing that much time or effort, and you don't need to buy a candy thermometer. So it probably will be the color of brown paper bag within 5 minutes.
Or 10. So
Or
while
10.
we're waiting and letting it bubble and stir and bubble and stir, did the cats get into the almonds? Do I need to make new almonds?
No, he just put his paw in there and got one out and ate it on the counter.
Okay, so we'll make this batch without almonds. Actually, I do have a few almonds. Okay, here we go. So I've got a food chopper. Let me chop these up while I'm waiting. Okay.
It's so bad.
All right, so I took plain almonds from Costco and I heated them up on this pan on the stove
To toast them.
to make them toasty. And so now I'm gonna get my handy dandy Pampered Chef food processor. Just do a few little chops here. By the way, if you don't have one of these, you can order one from Starr, from Dallin's Pampered Chef party, because he's getting married and he needs some Pampered Chef.
This is getting thicker. You know you're getting it right when it thickens up. It's thickening up. Basically, it doesn't take long. It takes less time in a shallow frying pan than in the pot that Starr used.
No, it has sugar in it. Okay, so here's,
What's the difference between that and that?
The cat got into that.
alright,
Oh,
so
the cat got in that one?
I've got some tin foil here. I've got some nuts here now. And I'm gonna stir and stir and stir. And stir a little bit more.
You can see it's getting thicker.
Okay, and I mentioned to Jackie earlier today that this is like molten lava, and you will wish you were dead if you got this on you, so you gotta be really careful from,
Don't get it on your
yeah,
fingers.
from about 10 minutes ago until the next 20 minutes, do not get this on your body or you will wish that you were dead. So just be careful.
Did you ever hear the story of the box of See's candy and Grandma Betty and Grandpa Harry?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, Grandma Betty bought a box of See's candy,
His mom.
his mom, and she had a bridge club. and she was saving the box of candy for when the bridge club was at her house, because they rotated the members of the bridge club. And she had the box of candy in the top of her closet in her bedroom that she shared with her husband Harry. Well, Harry saw the box of candy and decided he couldn't wait to have some. He didn't realize that it was earmarked for something else. So he cut a hole in the bottom of the box of candy, and he would take a piece out and replace it with a rock. So when she had her bridge club and they opened it on the top, the See's candy, inside the box were rocks. And those See's candy. You never heard that story?
I don't know that. That's hilarious. Oh my
I
gosh.
have not heard that before.
That's
Oh, I heard it from
hilarious.
Grandma Betty.
Oh my goodness. All right, so this is starting to change color. It's getting a little
Beige.
bit darker. So we know we're getting close.
But it's gonna be, if you use a shallow frying pan, it will cook up faster than the pot Starr's using.
I just don't want to get molten lava on my body.
Because it's
so-
really painful. It's probably 450 degrees
or more.
or more.
I don't know. It isn't melting the pan or the spoon, so.
That's why you need to use a heavy duty pan. It's starting to get brown around the edges.
I love it. It's getting closer.
I think we should sing "We Wish You Merry Christmas" at some point
Do, all right. Well, how about for the finale?
for the finale.
All right, are there any other fun cooking stories? Oh, we're getting close. It's gonna happen soon.
Yeah, it takes about 5 minutes. It takes more with the pan that she's using than if you use a shallow frying pan.
I remember I made this for my 4th grade class at school, and I'm pretty sure like I had adult supervision, but she wasn't there, so I don't know how a grown up at school thought I'd be
Safe.
tall enough to do
safe
this.
enough.
I don't know. But yeah, I was able to pour molten
It's turning.
lava.
It's changing color right now. It's not yet the color of a brown paper bag.
But it smells really good.
Now, Dave, I was trying to copy some stuff from off the printer, and the last piece I was trying to copy was a short piece of paper, but I couldn't get it out, so I don't know what
Is
happened.
it paper jammed?
What's that?
Is it paper
It's
jammed?
about the right color.
Is the printer jammed?
Okay, so
Well,
this
I
looks
don't
like the
know.
same
It's
color as
just-
the paper bag, so I'm gonna
Okay.
go
Piece
for
of
it.
paper just
Going for it. So I'm gonna pour this over the
Nuts.
nuts. Now, a little fun fact, I don't think I've used almonds since I was a child. I think as an adult, I didn't know that I used to use almonds, and so
yeah,
I've
I always use almonds.
always done walnuts.
It's still on.
Okay, you see the color inside the pan is the color of a brown paper bag. And don't put your finger in there and taste it, or you'll be having a blister for Christmas.
All right, so that looks great. We're gonna wait about a minute, and then I'm gonna put some chocolate chips on top. What?
How much chocolate chips?
Well, my husband says this is a cup. My Dave chef. I don't know. I don't actually measure, but this looks like more than a cup to me.
I scattered them on top.
That's a heavy cut.
All right, it's a heavy cup. That probably wasn't a minute. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to put them on too soon, or they're going to sink into the chocolate and sink into the candy.
And I'll get
If
nice
you need
melty.
I generally wait a little longer than Starr did.
And if you wait too long and you can't melt them, just put them like in a microwave safe bowl and microwave the chocolate for like.
And spread it on top of the spatula, or put it in the oven under the broiler for a minute, and the broiler will melt the chocolate.
I would never do that.
Okay. Okay. With the chocolate chips on top of the toffee, you're gonna leave them there until the chocolate chips are shiny. And when they're shiny, they're ready to be spread because they're melted enough. So the chocolate chips need to get hot, and then they get shiny, and then you take a rubber spatula and spread them to coat the top of the candy. I had a bottle of it. Here it is.
We'll use an offset spatula when these are shiny.
Okay, so we're trying to copy.
okay. No,
All right. So, any more fun stories?
Something in here to copy?
There's the story of the strawberries.
All right. Let's hear the strawberry story.
Okay, Grandma Betty or Grandpa Harry's mother, I don't remember which mother it was.
Just so you know.
At one time,
It was either grandma's mom or grandpa's mom. Okay. One of my grandmas. One of my great grandmas.
one of her great grandmothers lived with Betty and Harry and Dean as he was growing up when he was a teenager.
So May lived with them.
And also, I forgot what Harry's mother's name was. Anyway, also an uncle lived with them too.
Really?
And Daddy would come home from school every day and he would play card games with the uncle.
Which city is this?
This was in Los Altos.
Right. Where Stanford is.
Yeah. On Mora Drive. So this was before Hong Kong.
So my dad was young.
Very young.
All right, my dad was young, so he was like elementary school age,
Mhm,
and
he was
his
in
grandma
school.
and uncle lived with them.
Hmm.
And he would come home from school,
And they would play games.
Okay.
Now, one of the grandmas planted strawberry plants outside in the yard. And the uncle wanted to play a trick on her, so he went to the store and bought beautiful strawberries and attached them with a toothpick to her strawberry plants. And she came outside and she couldn't believe it, because the strawberry plants didn't have any strawberries yesterday, and now they had these great big strawberries growing on them, she thought, until she reached down and picked one up and she found the toothpick.
So you guys wonder why I'm hilarious.
You guess it from Starr's dad's side of the family.
So which uncle was that?
I don't know. You have to ask Dad.
Okay, all right. So my chocolate chips are starting to be shiny now. So I'm going to spread them.
See how easily they spread once they get shiny. If you try to spread them while they're not melty, they'll just dig into the toffee. But if you look at it, Starr, you'll see how easily they spread and how nice it looks.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Okay, the other little hint I need to tell you is you're going to be tempted to want to eat it as soon as you can, but don't crack it or move it until it's cool, because it sometimes causes it to recrystallize. Recrystallize means it turns into sugar, and it's not really good candy, and you've wasted your butter and you wasted your sugar and your nuts, and you're not going to be happy. So do we have any ground nuts?
No, I'm gonna grind them next. All right, so here's my delicious chocolate offset spatula. Here's some non-cat almonds. Okay. So this is not from Pampered Chef, but Pampered Chef did have one.
I think we have the Pampered Chef one, but that one's a little bit heavy duty.
Yeah. So anyway, you can get one of these from Dallin's wedding shower. Pampered Chef. All right. So I'm not. Okay. Why is this? Oh, I have it in backwards.
This is a Pampered Chef one right here. It says Pampered Chef.
I put it in wrong, so I'm not left-handed. I should have done the other way.
Okay.
But my Dave Chef is making almond snow to go on top. And this does two things. It gives it a lovely topping, but it also helps the chocolate dry a little bit, and so it doesn't stick all together when it's in the bag for treat giving. When this is dry, so I'm gonna let it cool for many hours, and luckily it's snowing outside, so I won't put it outside, but I'll just keep it somewhere cool.
I think that the garage would be a great idea.
Nice and cold. And then the chocolate won't be shiny anymore when it's done. And then I'll crack it into chunks, and Dave will put it in little bags, and then we'll give it to people, and they'll be very, very happy.
Now this is the Pampered Chef grinder. It says Pampered Chef on it, and it will either be left-handed or right-handed, depending on what you put the barrel in. And it's very nice, and it does cheese and nuts really well.
All right, so this is our amazing toffee, and I think we're mostly done. A little side note is as you're putting this together and when you're done eating it, you're gonna have little crumbles left. You don't have to, I mean, obviously you could like dump the bag in your mouth, which who doesn't want to do that? But you can also save it for like an ice cream topping or stuff like that too. So we will now sing our We Wish You a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Bye.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.